So, February 19th, 1994, Riverside, California. Gloria Ramirez, a 31-year-old woman, arrives at the ER, but not just any ER. No, this is the hospital shift that's about to go down in medical history, and not in the, wow, we saved the day kind of way. More like, what just happened? Gloria was in bad shape. Advanced cervical cancer had already been wreaking havoc on her body, and that night, her symptoms hit critical levels. She's rushed in, barely conscious, with labored breathing and a racing heart. Standard ER drama so far, right? Hold on to your stethoscopes because it's about to get weird. The doctors jump into action. They're pumping oxygen, injecting sedatives, basically throwing the medical textbook at her. But while they're trying to stabilize her, one nurse notices something strange. Gloria's skin? Slick and oily. Not like, I just hit the gym sweaty, more like she took a bath in something. Unusual. And then there's the smell. A fruity, chemical-like odor starts wafting off her body. It's not your typical hospital antiseptic smell. It's the kind of scent that makes you stop and think, what's going on here? Hooked already? Smash that subscribe button and stick with Talescape. As if that weren't enough, things escalate when a respiratory therapist draws blood from Gloria. The syringe fills, and everyone notices something they wish they hadn't. The blood isn't normal. It's got a cloudy, off-color appearance, and when someone gets close to the sample, there's another smell, ammonia. At this point, the staff isn't just puzzled, they're starting to get nervous. And then, the dominoes start falling. The nurse handling the blood sample suddenly feels lightheaded. Within minutes, she collapses. Another staff member steps in to help, only to feel dizzy herself. One by one, the medical team begins dropping like flies, fainting, gasping for air, and experiencing muscle spasms. The ER, once a place of calm chaos, turns into a scene straight out of a disaster movie. Meanwhile, Gloria's condition is deteriorating rapidly. The doctors try to save her, but within 45 minutes of arriving at the hospital, she goes into cardiac arrest and is pronounced dead. Now, you'd think the story ends there, a tragic case of cancer complications. Nope, this is just the beginning. The staff, reeling from their own bizarre symptoms, quickly realizes that whatever caused their sudden illnesses might be tied to Gloria. But how? Why? And most importantly, what on earth just happened in that ER? All right, so Gloria Ramirez had passed away, but the chaos she left behind? That was only just getting started. The Riverside General Hospital ER wasn't just dealing with one tragedy. They had a full-blown mystery on their hands. 5 staff members were so sick, they needed medical attention themselves. One nurse, Susan Kane, passed out cold and had to be wheeled out on a stretcher. Another, Maureen Welch, developed breathing issues so severe she ended up in the ICU for 2 weeks. Not exactly a typical shift for an ER team. The hospital was in full panic mode. What just happened? Did Gloria bring some sort of toxin into the hospital? Was there a gas leak? Were aliens involved? No theory seemed too wild at this point. Management ordered a full evacuation of the ER, leaving only a skeleton crew behind to deal with what was rapidly turning into a medical X-file. Meanwhile, investigators were called in to figure out what went wrong. The first step? Analyzing Gloria's body. Now, if you think the staff was eager to get up close and personal with her remains, think again. Given what had just gone down, everyone was handling the situation like she was radioactive. The body was sealed in an airtight aluminum coffin as a precaution, and a specialized hazmat team was brought in to take samples. But the big question remained, what made Gloria toxic? Enter the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, a facility more used to dealing with nuclear materials than medical mysteries. Their experts dove headfirst into the case, examining every angle. What they discovered was both fascinating and terrifying. Gloria's family later revealed she had been using dimethyl sulfoxide, DMSO, as a home remedy for her pain. Now, DMSO isn't some snake oil, it's a legitimate chemical often used as an industrial solvent, but sometimes marketed illegally as a cure-all. Gloria, desperate for relief from her cancer symptoms, had reportedly been applying it to her skin. Here's the kicker. DMSO has a distinct garlic-like smell, which might explain the unusual fruity odor the medical staff noticed. But that's not all. When the medical team gave Gloria oxygen to help her breathe, the DMSO on her skin may have undergone a chemical transformation, turning into dimethyl sulfate, a highly toxic compound capable of causing severe symptoms in anyone exposed to it. Headaches, fainting, muscle spasms. It all lined up. The more investigators uncovered, the more it seemed like Gloria's case was a perfect storm of unlikely events. The DMSO theory didn't explain everything, but it fit the timeline and symptoms too well to ignore. Still, questions lingered. Could this all really be blamed on a home remedy gone wrong, or was something even stranger at play? The investigation into Gloria Ramirez's death and the bizarre ER incident didn't just stop with the DMSO theory. The case had spiraled into something bigger, a mystery that gripped the public, baffled experts, and raised questions about science, safety, and the unknown. But while the investigation pushed forward, the aftermath for everyone involved was far from over. For Gloria's family, her death was a devastating loss, made worse by the growing speculation surrounding her. She wasn't just a person anymore. She was a headline, a puzzle for strangers to solve. Her relatives disputed the idea that she was using DMSO, insisting she wouldn't have turned to something so extreme. They felt the hospital was trying to shift blame instead of owning up to their own mistakes. Meanwhile, the hospital faced mounting pressure. Staff were still recovering, both physically and emotionally, and the public wanted answers. The media latched onto the story, dubbing Gloria the Toxic Lady, a nickname that was equal parts sensational and dehumanizing. Television specials speculated wildly, with some even suggesting government cover-ups or biohazards straight out of a sci-fi thriller. Adding to the confusion, Gloria's body had been handled in a way that only deepened the mystery. When her remains were finally released for burial, her family reported shocking irregularities. Her heart was missing, her other organs were badly contaminated, and her body was in an advanced state of decomposition. It seemed like every step of the process had raised more questions than answers. The DMSO theory remained the leading explanation, but it wasn't without its critics. Some argued that dimethyl sulfate, while toxic, couldn't fully account for the severity of the symptoms experienced by the medical staff. Others pointed to the hospital's own conditions, suggesting a possible leak or contamination, unrelated to Gloria. And then there were those who simply shrugged, calling the whole incident an unexplainable anomaly, a 1 in a billion occurrence that no one could have predicted. As time went on, the story faded from the headlines, but its legacy endured. Gloria Ramirez became a symbol of how science sometimes struggles to explain the unexplainable. Her case inspired medical protocols, safety reviews, and even pop culture adaptations. Shows like Grey's Anatomy drew on her story, weaving elements of the mystery into fictionalized dramas. But for those closest to the incident, the memories weren't so easily packaged into television scripts. The staff at Riverside General Hospital carried the scars of that night, both visible and invisible. For Gloria's family, the pain of losing her was compounded by the circus that surrounded her death. Even now, decades later, the Toxic Lady remains a cautionary tale. Whether it was a freak chemical reaction, an overlooked hazard, or something no one's yet imagined, Gloria Ramirez's story serves as a reminder of how fragile the balance between life, science, and the unknown can be. Thanks for tuning in to Talescape. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that leave you questioning everything and double-checking your home remedies.